Welcome to Any Way You Slice It, where we talk about issues, cares, and frustrations, what we call the slices of life. Come journey with author Ricardo Richardson to the core to reveal identity and purpose. Today's message is the purpose of adversity.
Beloved family, trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge Him, and He will direct your paths. Proverbs 3, 5, and 6. Acknowledge Him. When we go through adversity and test in life, it is to bring us to acknowledgement. When we listen to God, especially during adversity, we acknowledge Him, His power and ability to direct our paths through the adversity. God speaks, especially in adversity. Don't just hear, listen. Especially if it's dark circumstances and you cannot see, just listen. He is always showing or proclaiming His purpose. It's whether we want to hear or see it. Some of you heard about my lunch with two kingdom men who are physically blind but not spiritually. They lost their sight but not their vision. I was blessed to have lunch with Tim and Mike from my weekly men worship group. I will share it again for those that missed it. What an eye-opening experience, no pun intended. As we walk into the restaurant, one holding the back of the other in a procession, we made our way to be seated. I realized that both of them put their trust in me to guide them, avoiding chairs, tables, and other obstacles to a place where they will be fed and fulfilled. When seated, I asked, "How do you guys move around in strange places?" They both said, "We listen and we feel." If they are close to a wall, the sound changes as it echoes differently. I was so humbled eating lunch with them. I realized how blessed millions of us are to have sight, but how that sight limits our ability to hear God speak in our surroundings and in our circumstances. When there are walls and obstacles in our life, the sound changes. We need to stop and listen more intently, especially in times of adversity. Be more engaged in the Word and let God guide us to a place where He wants to satisfy our needs, feed us, and fulfill us. Trust God, even when we can't see Him. What I didn't, however, share was Tim's story. See, he wasn't born blind. He became blind from an adversary. The hostile husband of a bank employee would always come to harass her at the bank, and as her supervisor, he asked him to leave repeatedly. One day he returned and ran Tim over in the parking lot, got out of his truck, and shot him in the face, obviously in an attempt to take Tim's life. He then pointed the gun at his head and took his own life. How tragic. But here is where Tim listened through the adversity. He forgave the man and also forgave his wife, who felt guilty for what her husband had done. He and his wife took her to dinner and witnessed to her about the love of Christ and about forgiveness. Tim later told me, "I prayed for the man because he lost his life. I only lost my sight." Today he is running a successful insurance company. He loves life, travels all over the world, and is a downhill skier. He saw God through his blindness. I pulled up the other day to pick him up and called to say I was outside. He responded, "Sorry, Ricardo, I didn't see when you pull up." I paused, puzzled. Then he laughed and said, "Did you get it?" I said, "Yes, Tim, I get it." His attitude reflects his acknowledgement of the Lord Jesus Christ. He lives a full life in spite of his lack of physical eyesight, but he makes up for it in vision and faith. Many of us walk by sight. That's why when we see obstacles and adversity, we stop. Tim walks by faith, and even though he approaches adversity, he keeps on walking. Much love.